that are in the workplace. 4 generations, each with their own history of growing up, and so therefore each with their own perspective and point of view on the world. Gen Xers are very skeptical, and they actually think that it's much more likely to see a UFO than ever see Social Security, which is probably likely. So today I had an opportunity to listen to a webcast by Lynn Lancaster, and her website is www.generations.com. And she talked about the 4 generations that are presently in the workplace. And so what I'd like to do is think about, what are these 4 generations? What's the history that they bring to the table? And then how do we work best together by recognizing the strengths and the differences and leveraging the strengths and the differences of those 4 generations. The first generation is the traditionalists. And the traditionalists are prior to 1946, so born before 1946. Their characteristic is that they are very patriotic, they're very loyal, they're fiscally conservative, and they have faith in institutions. Now think about, born prior to 1946, and there's 15% of traditionalists still in the workplace. These are people whose parents were in the Great Depression, or they themselves, depending on how far back. And so they were raised with a philosophy of waste not, want not. You can see the conservative. World War II, the GI Bill, all of these things helped craft a generation of very solid and hard-working, loyal people. Career-wise, you tended to stay in the same place. So that was about loyalty. You build a career in the same place. And their goal is to build a legacy. What we're seeing now is that many traditionalists are going into second careers, and you're starting to see advertisements in things like Wells Fargo has got on their website looking for traditionalists who would be able to work and in a second career and have that same kind of loyalty, dependability, showing up early that they're looking for. The next generation is the baby boomers. Baby boomers are from 1946 to 80. Now, let's look around here. Any traditionalists in the club? Yeah, you think of Gordy, John Lawson, but the tail end of that, but still traditionalist. And doesn't that ring true? Patriotic, loyal, on the mark. Baby boomers are, as I said, 46 to 64. Baby boomers in the group. Got a very strong representative of baby boomers. Historically, now boomers, 80 million strong. 80 million people. So as boomers were growing up, they're highly competitive because they had to compete for everything. They were constantly with other people. Vietnam, and boomers tend to want to reinvent themselves constantly because we grew up in and I join you, I grew up in the 50s, so there was this rhythm because we grew up with the traditionalists, and then we got the pill, and we got Vietnam, and our mark on the world was the women's movement, one of our marks on the world. We also faced Watergate and all. So all of this creates a generation that has a lot of the things from our parents, the traditionalists, that want to be solid, but also want to not take an institution for granted, not just accept it, challenge it, and look for ways to create a career path versus staying in one place at the same time. So, and it's about reinventing. Gen Xers, born in 65 to 81. So Gen Xers, I know we've got several. All right, Gen Xers, now in this generation, the divorce rate quadrupled. No wonder they're skeptical. did not have the same rhythm and stability and pace that the boomers had. It's a different world. Now we're faced with AIDS, we're faced with missing children on milk cartons, we're faced with the rise of technology, and so for Gen Xers the goal is to build a portable career. And it is to question why, it is to be suspect. And what did Janine say this morning? First question out of my mouth was why? I'm not going to take for granted what you tell me. I'm going to challenge it. So what happens in the workplace when a boomer's being challenged by an Xer, and it's like, wait a minute, I'm old enough to be your parent. And yet it's natural to challenge. So recognizing that when you deal with an Xer, you come prepared, you know your stuff, you be prepared to be challenged, and you enjoy the challenge and the interaction. And then our fourth generation that's now in the workplace is the millennials, born from 1982 to 2000. Now, here we've got a generation that think of the world. If it's just the world from 1982 on, what do they see? They see shootings in schools. They see September 11th, and not from an adult eye, but from a young person's eyes. Their biggest concern is safety. Their biggest concern is not letting their skills be challenged to constantly keep up with technology. Great deal of diversity. They are 76 million. Now remember, baby boomers, we thought that was the biggest generation we'd ever see, 80 million. Our millennials are 76 million. This is because of immigration. So great diversity, great flexibility, and looking for a career path. And biggest concern is the gray ceiling, because they see all of these boomers and traditionalists holding on to their jobs, and it's like, retire already, give us a chance. So we have 4 generations, 4 different ways of looking at the world, all with bringing something to the table. So think about, with another lens, as when we're dealing with people, what generation, what can I learn from that, what can I expect from that, and how can I be more efficient? And that way, we can all be more productive and collaborative in all 4 generations. Yes, sir.